Alrighty, we're behind 912 Center, built originally sometime before 1885, torn down around the turn of the century, and this was built at least by 1906. And probed out something right close to the edge of this stairway here. There's actually an old cement stairway, and the maps show there was like a barn or something off in that corner, and that's the old Center Street School behind us. So anyway, gonna open it up, see if there's anything there, or if it is anything. Kind of hard to tell. Yeah. Well, after only about a half hour of digging, if that, maybe 20 minutes, first bottle in the hole. Only about 1.5 feet deep, if that. Looks like a tool top medicine, or maybe a utility ink, something. Won't know till I pull it out. Well, it turns out to be a utility shoe polish. No embossing, but hey, turn of century, all day long. Also, we have a smattering of bones and some yellowware. Always happy to see yellowware. Good sign right up in the cap. Kind of doesn't look like there is a cap though. It just goes right into a use layer. Cool. Alrighty, well, after a couple hours of digging, we got a couple of local Hannibal guys, a couple of inks, a soda, and a shoe polish. And we have 2 lime layers at least down here. And we've only been at it a couple hours. We're just getting down into the older use layer. So I'm happy. Yeah. Well, after about 2.5 hours of digging, down to a nice use layer. This is like the way we like to find them. A group of 3. I think the top right one is a Kilmer's, small size. Bottom is a citrate of magnesia, and the top left, I don't know. Some sort of mineral water, I'm guessing. Yeah, and hell, we're not even 4 feet down here hardly. Yay. Well, again, just the way we like to find them. Looks like a whole wax sealer, a brown thing, and a clear thing. Still part of that last pocket, I think. Real curious to see what that fruit jar says, if it does, or if it's whole. Well, I misspoke. Apparently this is the flask that's not in the book. There's one that just says regulator on it. Why grandfather's clock wouldn't be on it, I don't know, or in the book. It certainly should be. This one's a little bit fancier, I think. I don't think the other one has a star on the back, but I've got the other one, the regulator clock. And apparently there's a number of variations. So anyway, there you have it. Fun dig. My favorite, the weird named medicines. Okay, the bed bug hole, I call it. Dutcher's bed bug hole. Interesting dig. Two pre-Civil War homes built in the late 50s for two daughters, apparently, is the story. And they lived next door to each other, and apparently they shared the same privy. On the map, on the Sanborn map, it shows one giant square divided by a property line. And when I dug it out, it was interesting because there was a huge stone liner and it ran between the two privies. It was like if there truly were two daughters in the same family, why would you add an extra wall? You know, basically the privies were back to back, opposite sides of the property line. Other than the fact that I dug up hair products indicating a female in the household, there was really no other indication. The Heim Street hair bottle cobalt blue on the left and the oh shoot, did I get that backwards? I did. supposed to be this away. Yeah, let's just keep it straight, Jack. Yep. The one on the left, the Mrs. Allen's at the 355 Broome Street address. I dug two broken ones. One was gluable. And then in the other privy, a year later, I got permission to dig that one from a different property owner. And I dug up the Heim Street broken one. The Heim Street was paneled and the Allen's was not. I don't think they come paneled in that purple version. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I believe this particular privy or property was constructed by slaves because the stones they used to line this privy were massive. I mean, they were more like foundation stones than privy rock. Anyway, the first hole I dug out, I dug up a couple of these Helmbold's genuine extracts from Philadelphia. Didn't miss the panel by much, I can tell you that much. I don't know if that's a hinge mold or a cup mold, early cup mold. I don't think it is because I don't see any seam that goes around the bottom edge, but early 60s. And this bad boy came out of the fill up near the top. And Hofbauer, that family had a long history of being druggists. Although earliest history, L.A. Hofbauer, that was the senior. This is the only one I've ever dug up that says apothecary and has the fancy initials on it. Before that, he was a policeman and he was also a saloon keeper who, as far as I know, had the only paneled soda bottle, embossed soda bottle, L.A. Hofbauer from Hannibal Moe on it. So there you go. More than you ever wanted to know about Mr. Hofbauer. And his sons followed his footsteps in the drug business. As I mentioned before, the Mrs. Allen's, World's Hair Restorer, the earlier 355 Broome Street address, with that super slick, super flat base on it. I mean, I could have dug a dozen of these all day long, you know, wouldn't have hurt my feelings any. And then, like I said, a year later, I got permission to dig the other side of the privy, where I encountered a gas line again. I seem to have an affection for those. And the beautiful Heim Street bottle here with a panel on it. Just a killer bottle, you know. That funky, almost a blob top to it. And in each hole, I dug up a Groen and Durholt iron paneled soda from Quincy again. And if this bottle is starting to look familiar, it's because it's the only Groen and Durholt from Quincy paneled that I have remaining. I sold about a dozen of them already, and so I tend to use this as a prop. Whenever I dug one up, it's this guy right here. Sorry, folks, but that's the only way I can do it. And in the top fill, in that about 1880s stuff, came this bad boy. Really super crude lip on this thing. It almost looked melted. Or almost like it had a pour spout. It was like, okay, what the heck's going on with this? And it was just super cruddy. I mean, you could almost not see the color. It was that cruddy. And the base is embossed.
oh shoot, I can't remember what it is. It's a Platts chloride disinfectant. And I think I did the research on this, and I think the earliest ones came out in 1879. And this really, it's got to be one of the first ones. Super crude mold. I'm not sure if that's a hinge mold or not. It's pretty crude looking, though. You can barely read. Matter of fact, I couldn't read it at first. I actually had to dig a common aqua one in a pit later to actually decipher what this one says. Anyway, they started in 79, and so far it's the only cobalt blue one I've ever seen. You can dig a dozen aqua ones, and I did have a color run for a little while. I had a dark amethyst one, a clear one, and an aqua one, and then this bad boy right in the middle of them. And then rounding out the bottles, this was literally the last bottle out of the last hole. Dead Shot for Bed Bugs from St. Albans, Vermont. Dutchers. A nice funky Ponnell. I mean, just a killer poison bed bug bottle in perfect shape. That just was icing on the cake as far as I was concerned. Earlier, I dug up this bad boy, and it cleaned up and came out just as perfect as the day it was made. X-Basin's Purified Charcoal Toothpaste. And at first I thought, Jesus, charcoal? Brush your teeth with charcoal? But apparently it's quite the cleaning agent for teeth. I did not know this. Not unusual. Now or then, apparently. X-Basin's successor to E. Rossell, 166 Chestnut Street, Philly. Near as I can research, that was a fairly early address dating back to the 50s. You'll see these at later addresses and a little bit different embossing, and eventually the successor part of the embossing, or whatever you call that, stenciling, disappears after a number of years when X-Basin has a name for himself, that stands alone. But I thought it was cool that it came with the original pot. You always hear about the pot lids and this and that, and that's not a chip. That's just a portion of it that didn't get glazed for some reason. This thing is minty as minty can be. And I mean, I can count on one hand how many pot lids I've dug up, and I think I got a finger left over. So anyway, that's what came out of the bed bug hole back in 2014 maybe. Might have been earlier. It's been so long ago I can't remember. But yeah, the two criers were the hair bottles. Boy, that's when I kind of got on my horse and just started buying bottles of ones I had dug broken, because it annoyed me that much. Now I just have a nice hair collection. Used to be able to match my hair, but not anymore. My hair is not a good collection anymore. Anyway, hope you had fun with this video. Keep watching. I try to put a new one out, schedule a new one for every Saturday for now.